witnessed to suicide. And in that moment, I realized what walk by faith and not by sight meant, because I needed something greater than I to carry me through what I was in the midst of. So that's the one thing that even my 2-year-old, she can tell you, walk by faith, not by sight. Because it is something that once you grow and life starts testing you, you will understand.
Wow.
I'm not going to answer any questions after.
People love you 1 minute and then the next minute they don't really care. And it's so important to realize, wow, this is all so beautiful and the love we feel from you all is amazing. We have to know who we are by God's standards. You know, because when we go home, when we look in that mirror, we have to know who we are. And we have to know that, wow, this is all beautiful. This can come and go. You know, this is not permanent. There's no eternal value in being famous or being recognizable. And so when he said that to me, it struck true, because it's so important to be confident. It's so important to believe in yourself when nobody else believes in you. So, yeah.
Yes, everybody, know who you are. For all you young people out there, start now. So what was the defining moment in your life? Like when you knew you wanted to be an actor, a performer, and you knew you wanted to take this path?
I was 10 months old. Seriously.
What?
No, I'm lying. No, but I mean, I don't really have that moment because I've literally been doing it since I was a baby. So I can't really, y'all will have to answer this question because I passed this to y'all.
Well, you know, at a young age, I sat down with Michael Jackson, and I didn't sit down. I just.
It's like Michael Jackson.
She said Quincy Jones, and I was trying to think like, dang, she got a better story than me. Quincy Jones is awesome. So in middle school, it was actually in middle school, it was in the 8th grade. I was kind of like a class clown. Like I would always, you know, I wasn't good at playing any sports, and I really didn't know where I fit in. So I was kind of like a class clown. And I had a teacher that pulled me aside and said, "Listen, you know, you making jokes in class is energy, right? And life is your energy. You know, Jay-Z says everyone has genius in them. It's just on you to hone into it." So my teacher was like, instead of using that energy to just make people laugh in class, you need to find out how you can be great using that energy in the right way. And so since then, it always stuck with me, and that's pretty much what I based my career around. It's like, you know, being a host, or even when I do films, I find a way to use my energy to make myself great. And all of us, no matter what it is that you're trying to do, God bless all of us with something in us that's great. It's up to us to tap into what it is, find out what we're passionate about, and use your passion in order to become, you know, the success that you want to be.
Signed at 12, and I think that I didn't really decide the career before I made that decision. I think when you start pursuing something so young, there's so many other things that you want to do. And now, as an adult, looking back at it at 35, there are things that I want to do now that I still just take time off and I pursue it, because this is all that I know. This is all that I've ever really been a part of. So for me, there's not been a defining moment more poignant than when my mom told me that you have options. Just because you're bright lights and people may be screaming your name, if at any point this doesn't make you happy anymore, then leave. And I think that was the defining moment where I could say, no matter what's going on in my life, when I grab the mic and I start to sing, I feel happy, I feel good. I don't like the politics. I don't like the foolishness. I don't like some of the things that come with it, and it is tiring. But I love to sing, and when I sing for the people, because singing saved my life. Every time I would go through something, I'd sing to myself. So when I go on stage, I look at it like I'm singing to others, because you don't know what other people are going through. So when I'm singing, I'm thinking about it from that perspective, and everything negative that comes with my job goes away. It disappears instantly. And the defining moment was just when my mom asked me that question, because she was opening the door for me to say enough. And it's never been enough.
Thank you, Mom.
Like foot stomping, clap, no music type song. And then the other side of it is Whitney Elizabeth Houston has always been, will always be my greatest inspiration outside of that, because I was a tall, slender girl with this big voice, and I didn't always know exactly what type of music they wanted me to sing, but I knew what I wanted to sing. And the first time that we met, she just was like, "Little girl, you remind me of me." And she said, "Don't ever let them tell you who you should be. You already know." And I was only about 13 or 14, and I'm like, "Do I?" And she say, "I do, I guess I do." And over time, I realized that I really did, because there's so many songs and great records that even I hear today that I would pass. They were huge for other people, but I knew that they weren't for me. And so music with a message is something that she just reminded me to never lose. So those two people are my greatest influences.
Alfred Woodard, Blair Underwood, CCH Pounder, and I had just done a film called Eve's Bayou, and Samuel Jackson played my dad.
Really good movie.
And Sam and his wife LaTanya were board members of Artists for New South Africa, and they got me involved with it at a very early age, and I became like a peer educator, and I used to go around a lot in schools in Los Angeles speaking to my peers about HIV/AIDS. And for me, that work, it's since taken me to South Africa and Botswana and all over the world. For me, that's food for my soul, and it's interesting because my art has opened the door for me to be able to do that, but I get some of the most satisfaction from serving, from giving, and it really keeps you humble. It helps you understand that, life is bigger, and it really reminds you what it's all about. When I go, the times I've gone to South Africa, that is one of the most beautiful places in God's green earth, when I tell you. The people are so humble, and they're so friendly and happy. And I remember going into a shanty town and going into someone's home, and all they had was an empty can, a pencil, and some paper. It was neatly put on this shelf. And I just remember thinking, my goodness, they don't have anything. They have nothing. But yet, they take such good care of what they do have, and they treasure what they do have, and they, when you give them pencils and papers, they're so grateful. And it's always just reminded me, to not be wasteful, and not take life for granted, because there's always people in the world who would give anything to have just an ounce of what we have here.
That's amazing. You hear that, everyone? Maybe for Black History Month, everyone should volunteer or give back to the community in some way. That would be great.
It was me speaking for a genre of music that I love. I mean, R&B music, R&B soul music. It's a music that in the 90s you could think of songs and know exactly where you were. If you think of one of my favorites is SWV Week. You know where you were. Or the first time I ever heard Forever My Lady by Jodeci, it was our little 8th grade dance. And I don't want to dance with him. I don't want to dance with him. You can remember those songs they had some meaning. And if you go back even further to a lot of the women that I look up to, like Gladys Knight, Midnight Train to Georgia, or Patti LaBelle, all of these songs, they had this meaning. Right now, I don't think this generation gets to experience the meaning that So I named it Code Red because I look at it like it's a state of emergency. I am okay with the music that is so relevant right now. I love it. I enjoy it. I listen to it. But I think that they need a balance. So when I named the album Code Red, I named it that just to say, okay, stop for a minute. Let's pay attention to this whole message that we're sending to our kids. If everything is about turning up, hanging out, partying, never having a real relationship, what is it that they will do in the next 10 to 15 years? Exactly that. So when I sit down and I talk to my sons and my daughter, my goal is to make sure that they understand what love is, and that it's okay to be loving and to be in love, and how you treat someone and respect someone and how you talk to someone. Because when you refer to me, you can't use the terms that are in rap songs and get my attention. So if you want that eventually, then you have to have both sides. And I always say that I'm the best of both worlds because the turn up gets real. I'm from Georgia. So, I have my fun. Let's not take that away. But there's a special side of me that when I said I do, I stay in touch with. When I first gave birth, I stay in touch with. When I first actually experienced loving a girlfriend of mine like a sister and her being in trouble, that keeps me connected to the people because we're all going through something different, but we're all connected in some way, and the music has to reflect that. So Code Red was just me coming back to say, listen, whether we sell 1 copy, 1 million, or 100 million, I want whatever person picks up the CD and listens to it to feel those feelings and be able to get through whatever they may be experiencing in that moment, and that's what Code Red meant to me.
When I graduated from college, people told me, you gotta pay your bills, you gotta have, 9 to 5, you gotta get a 401k, people told me what I needed to do with my life. And one of my boys was like, look, they're having auditions for BET in New York, you should just try out for the audition. So I took all the money in my bank account and I flew from Florida to New York for the audition. And I went into the audition and they you walk in there, they hand you this piece of paper and you gotta read it to a panel of people, it's like 5 people, and you gotta read in front of them, right? And when I did that, they told me no. They told me I wasn't good, I was nervous, I was tired, they told me no. And so my boy was like, look, they have auditions the next day in Atlanta, let's just go again. Like if they tell you no twice, what's the difference between them telling you no, a million times? And so I auditioned, we drove from New York down to Atlanta, and I auditioned the very next day. The only reason I got into the next audition, because the line was too long, is because I had the name tag for my audition in New York City. And I was like, because security guard was like, nobody else said. I'm like, I left my phone inside, man, let me just go and get my phone, let me back. Ran in, and I knew what was going to happen when I walked in the room because I had the same paper from the day before. And by the time I drove those 10 hours, I memorized it, and I was more confident, I was more prepared, and I just didn't have fear. Because once you get told no once, the fear is like, you can't tell me, it doesn't matter. You already told me, I already lost. What's it going to matter if I
break it down for the younger generation that ask about our music? Well, no R&B music is selling today. Well, what are you buying? What is it that you are, if you verbalize to me what it is that you would like to see more of, what you would like to hear more of, what is it about my first and second album that you love so much that you bought millions and millions and millions of copies of that, and maybe not the latter ones? Let's talk about that. I've yet to get a direct answer that allows me as an artist to go in and kind of tweak and change some things, because typically we're just hard on our people. We can pick apart an outfit, pick apart a hairdo, pick apart the music, pick apart the intellect even. You can hear someone speaking, you take the first half of what they say and miss the end. Well, that means you didn't hear what I said. That means that you cannot speak, not intellectually speak, about what I've just said or what my feelings were that I tried to convey to you. So I think we just have to be prepared to be a part of each other walking in our purpose. I have to support you just like you have to support me. Even if it's something as simple as lipstick line. It's a young black girl, she just made it, matte lipsticks. Yeah, they sell it at a lot of counters, but they didn't make it in their kitchen like she did. Or like Carol's daughter and a lot of different people that created things. You have to be prepared to really, really support your people. That doesn't mean you can't support other people. Just don't forget yours at the same time. And so I had plenty of meat in my bread. I had plenty in the refrigerator. I had plenty in the closet. But it was something missing in here. And that's when I found my spiritual self. Growing up with Baptist church family, my mom married a Methodist minister when I was 11. I had all of the makings of what could be a great spiritual life, but I chose another path for many, many years. And at 18, I realized that there was nothing greater than him. And so really accepting him into my life on my terms, not my mom's terms, not my stepdaddy's terms, but really on my terms, understanding that I needed him even as great as I thought I was. That is the moment when I think, at the lowest point, I was able to realize when you're down, you gotta learn to look up. I used to hear my grandmama say that, but I didn't know what it meant. So I think that you don't have to be broke to be at your lowest. You don't have to be hungry or homeless. You can have it all. and still feel like nothing. So I think that happened for me at 18 to answer your question.